Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. I'll be your host. Traders, welcome to the Bookmap All. We do this webinar every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. I'm the Bookmap lead educator here. I've been a trader for over 15 years now, and I'm the order flow specialist here at Bookmap, and have expertise in order flow and market microstructure. You can reach me at our Discord channel, Bruce at Bookmap, number 3993, and then Twitter, my Twitter handle at Flow Order. Let's go through some disclosures and we'll jump right in. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. The risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, good morning, Hector, over in our Discord channel. Let's see, everything should be up and running good. All right, so let's move on. Let's jump into these markets and take a look. Just reading about Apple being at kind of all-time highs, I guess, or the article was talking about it going up to its highs here, and we know that this is a market mover. Anyway, we'll come back and revisit this here. We typically start off with the S&P E-mini, and we can see the cash open here, the move to the upside, move to the downside, move right back up. It's all over the place. It is very sensitive right now. Now, we just had data. All right, that's the move up here. We can see that 9:45, also some news there, it looks like. And then the 10 o'clock, the services PMI, and you can see that was a knee-jerk reaction was pretty bullish here to it. So let's put that into the bigger picture here, what's going on in the order flow. This was a very kind of odd read in here at the cash open. See how the market's going up here, but we see tons of selling, right? Yeah, okay, a little bit more buying up in here. But into high liquidity all the way through up to the 4,300. We were actually looking for this to trade on Friday. It didn't. It just did now. And yet again, one more time here. We're back into the day range here, at least for the cash session. Now, the important thing to go through here, I think, on this time frame is to understand the bigger picture. All right, so let's take a step back here, and we'll look at a daily chart here. Or I'm sorry, these are weekly bars here on the left-hand side. Okay, the hours in the middle, and then the 15-minute on the right. We're looking at some pretty strong momentum on the weekly. Okay, and a breakout of a pretty big range here, as you guys can see. So this is above 4,200. We closed on the week. This is very bullish for a close above these areas. Now, it is trading into this zone in here from back in August of 2022. That was the high, and you can see the sell-off occurred after that. Now, what's interesting about that up here is well, we want to see this kind of reaction here. Is it going to be just kind of a retest? Are sellers going to remain it on the longer term? Or buyers going to come in on the longer term? And we talked about it potentially getting up into these other higher levels up in here, maybe up to 4,500, 4,600 if the bulls come charging in. There's kind of a lot of space in here for price to kind of cut through that area. So we really want to pay attention to what's going on now on the higher time frame. All right, let's look at the daily chart here, and you can see that even today, now this is a little bit different behavior in what we're looking at. We had the strong day on Friday, and then we have which I thought was kind of challenging, trading into high liquidity, the whole day through. Yet we continue to see buyers, and we just didn't see something really quite crystal clear for the move higher. during the time of our webinar. But anyway, so what about today? What's going on? Well, you can see we're still green for the day. However, we're up in these areas that we were looking at earlier, and we're starting to see some selling as well. Okay, so look on the hourly here or the 15-minute, and you can see these big wicks up here, right? So every time we come up here, we see sellers. Every time we come up, we see sellers. What I'm looking for in this daily chart scenario here is a move back into the range. Okay, so it broke out, but it came back in. All right, so now are we going to see sellers come in and then move this maybe back down to 42.78, 42.30 or 85, something like that. Just some of these little small wicks in here, right? 76, I guess. And let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. Well, this one's kind of tough to read. It was up, it's down, it's back up. We have data in here, but we're back down again, right? So I want to watch this area right here, right where we are currently, and let's jump into what we see in Bookmap. All right, so let's start to identify buyers and sellers and look at some of the delta and the pressures here in the market. Okay, so on this move up, there's a lot of selling. Okay, high liquidity up here, it trades, and the market does not go through that area, and we do see sellers come back in again. Right, so we see a lot of selling coming in here. Now, after the data, we see nice move to the upside. Okay, but this is what we want to watch right where we just bounced right here, because you can see where the buying really came in just after the data at 10, and we're looking for a scenario if we can get sellers now to trade back down to 89, 88, 85. Okay, so that's the scenario we're looking for. Now let's just zoom in here and take a quick look. All right, so sellers actually are in control on this smaller time frame. So yeah, I'm looking for the sellers to break it here and trade down to 90 and 88 here. Okay, so let's see, do we have a little push in the order book? Yeah, you can see it kind of blue over here. So they're on the offer, right? We're getting our aggressors. So we're still looking for the move lower here into 90 and 88 and then maybe 85. Okay. Just a quick kind of read here. Now, again, this is not a trade recommendation. What we're going through is a process here. And we want to understand what is more highly probable to unfold. So there's our move into 90. Okay. Yeah, we might get a bounce back up to where we just dropped from here at 92.5. But we're still seeing more sellers here. So let's see if we can get back down into 88 here. Here's our pullback so far. Good morning, Stan. Good morning, Rob. Hector already said hello, and Kenjurado. Okay, do you think these are deliberate stop hunts this morning? It's hard to see. We can look at the stop runs. It's hard to say. Like this is data here, and a lot of people getting stopped out for sure on this move up. Also, this little move up here too. Some stops on the way down though here. So it's kind of all over the place. But we have a lot of data here, right? So at 9:45, what was that? That was the it was something, and it was final services PMI, right? But that's not as important as the ISM services PMI, right? Which was a bad number, actually, negative number, but the market shot to the upside here, but now it's back down. All right, so interesting moves here. So we got our move into 90, but then we're looking for a pullback just to 92.5. Price went up a little bit higher here. However, it did not break the swing here. Okay, so sellers still kind of in control in this time frame here, but a lot of buying coming in. Yeah, I'm still looking for the move down into 88 here. We can go over trade management on something like this. Again, not trade recommendations, but it's important to understand, like, if you're looking for this, how to potentially manage it depending on your time frame and your trading plan that you need to develop and what's comfortable for you. Okay, so for example, let's go through how I would have handled it. I would have gotten in here. I would have traded it down to 90. That was my first target. I would have taken some off, or even before 90, just in front of it. And then I would likely to put my stop at break even plus, and I would have been stopped out on the second leg. Right now, that's a little more aggressive, and I'm trading on lower time frames. If you're trading on a higher time frame, and let's suppose you got into the same area here, then maybe you're still in it. Maybe your stop is up here and you haven't even taken some off yet. Or maybe it's even up higher here. Depends on your risk profile. Okay. But what we're going through is the same scenario here, that we're going to get sellers down below here and trade back into the range, right? And test these lower areas. You can see our profile trade or volume profile, how that can match up into support this trade idea as well. Okay, so to test these lower areas in here on the profile, right, and maybe build them out. All right, so a few different things to look at and consider. All right, let me see here. Good morning, Tony. Aloha. Let's see, any questions over in Discord? What's my opinion in general about stops? I mean, yeah, you can, Kenjorado, I mean, like, we start to anticipate stops and stop runs, stop hunts. Now, data is something different, though, right? And really, I would even suggest, let's just go through a quick exercise here. We can go here to the stops and icebergs on chart. Okay. And let's take a look. Icebergs, stops. Okay, we'll see all the stops here. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, so let's just zoom in a bit further. I'm a little surprised to see the stop run. I'm sorry. No, as we zoom in, we see it better now. Okay, so there's a stop run here. Okay, and then the biggest one is actually here up into this liquidity here. Okay, 220 in this little area. And you, as you can see, as I scroll in, it kind of breaks down more and more. So here's a little stop run here. Here, let's take best bid and offer off the chart for a moment, and then you can see the actual stop run with the red line. Okay, so here's a 2-tick stop run, 50 or 51. Here's 13. Here's 10, and here's 46. Okay, 19, 43, etc. So it's grinding some people out here on the way up. Right? See how I zoom back out though, and like what Bookmap does is there's so many that we need to kind of aggregate it together automatically for you, so you can kind of see the overall idea here. Okay, so now what I just did, Kenjurado, or ways to start to use this tool is to start to understand where are they taking place and why. Okay, so let's look at the why here. Well, it makes pretty good sense. There's a swing here. Okay, there's liquidity here, and a lot of stops are probably getting stopped out here at this swing. Okay, we also have 4,300, the figure here, right? So maybe sellers are like, okay, I'm a seller below, and then maybe they set their stop loss just in front of it here, 4,300, and they're getting stopped out just in front. Okay, so start to anticipate where these might be. Start to understand. Utilize this tool to your advantage. Okay, so then you can start to look for and really understand the details in these markets. Where are people placing their stops? Understand that behavior. and start to understand where you might anticipate that stop run, where you might place your own stop as well. Do market makers intentionally do it? Yes, I think they do, but I'm not really into this conspiracy theory of like, though they're just, it's always hunting for my stop. I think it's a big part of the market because think about it, that once you're in a position, what is your position? Let's suppose you're long. What's your position? You would say long. No, actually, you're looking to exit, so you're short in essence. You're looking to get short. Where will you be compelled to sell? And that's where you feel the pressure and the pain, right? And those areas are hunted by the market. Now, maybe some are market makers, but they don't. It doesn't have to be. Once it starts to hit those areas, people are compelled to sell. They got it wrong, and they don't want to lose money. So we're talking about smaller players here. Larger players, their behavior will likely be different. They will likely, maybe depending on their time frame, they may be adding into their position at that point, and averaging their cost. It depends, right? I know that larger players do that. So I would just say, like, you can pretty much give a blanket statement here that the market facilitates trades, and a lot of those trades that are very eager or compelled to trade are those that are feeling the pain. Okay, so start to look for that behavior in the chart, and you've got this. I mean, it's a magnificent tool here, the stops and icebergs, and the beauty of it is it's so objective. It's not like an indicator. It's not some sort of mathematical derivative. It's pure data. These are executed icebergs up here. There was 9 for 155. Here's 1 in the market here, or just executed for 3. Okay, and that's a iceberg. So you can see stops on both sides here of the market at the moment here. Okay, now we can also look at, and let's just go through our scenarios that we were looking at earlier. Okay, so we were looking for the move back down into 88 and then 85. Okay, so and I would have been in, out one, out the other here, and then and it did what I wanted. Okay, that's okay. I was not looking for this strength to come in, and I didn't want to take the risk. Good morning, Stephen. Yeah, that's one way to take a look at it here. Another way is like we just covered, like maybe your time frame is a little higher. You're looking for a trend continuation, and the same scenario though, but you're just a higher time frame. And then you're looking for something like, I don't know, maybe it's lining up like this, right? And maybe you'd be looking for some sort of channel here, and then maybe 85 is your target. Okay, maybe you're just still in it. If it comes back up here, maybe your stop's at break even, but maybe it's still up here and you're just not worried about it. All right, so lots of different kind of scenarios to go through. I think I answered your question in some detail there, Ken Gerardo, but I wouldn't fear them. It's a part of the market. Embrace it, understand it, and look for it. Yeah, for your own trading, one thing that I always try to recommend or remind myself is that it's the trade management is crucial, and it's very personal. But it's in this kind of your money management and trade management. Get really good at that. If there's any skill to get good at, okay, you need two things basically. I believe in trading. Number one is you need to know that you have an edge, just some sort of edge. That comes from studying your trading and building a trading plan. And through your study, you know that, like, you know, you have some sort of statistical edge. That's part one. Part two is how to manage it and how not to lose money. Okay, that's more important than making money. Making money is essentially, that is the easier part. Just let it run. Not losing money, though, is really the key. If you can get good at that, because no one likes to lose, you get stubborn, you hold on to it. Instead, let it take you out. Look for the next trade. One of the best I've seen that does this is Jay Trader on Wednesdays, our stock trader. He just doesn't let it worry him. He knows his setup so well. He lets them play out. If they don't play out, he cuts the trade. He looks for the next one. That's it. All right. Stops and icebergs and all these other things in here are confluences. They're not signals. This gives deeper insight to what's actually happening in the price action here. Okay, we can see the limit orders here on the bid, on the offer. You can see the transactions. We have a price structure that tells us what the behavior of traders think of the auction here. And that rules. The confluence here with stops and icebergs are very particular traders and a part of the market, not all of the market, a part of the market. So the larger players using iceberg orders, well, they don't want to show their liquidity in the order book. They have larger positions. That's why they use an iceberg order. Stops are smaller players. Typically, it might be a stop to enter, but typically there's, we see the cascading stop runs, and those are smaller players getting stopped out. And very, very different way of trading because they don't have, typically we don't have deeper pockets as a retail trader. So if we don't have access to that, we cannot average in. So the best thing to do is accept the loss, take it quickly, and wait for the next setup that is higher probability. And that's it. Okay. Now, see what we're looking at here. We were looking for this move to continue. Now look at the delta in here in the price structure. Okay. We've been talking about delta a lot lately, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. We have the sellers coming into this 88 level. That did transact. We went lower. And then let's look at all the back and forth in here, okay, in this range. Well, a lot of buying, Look where the buying is taking place, up here. A lot of buying in here, some selling here, but a lot of buying here. Where is it taking place? Up here. Okay. So, all right. So what does that mean? Like, well, if you're still in this position, do you still believe in it? Maybe you're starting to see a lot of buyers. Now, you would, unless you see buyers probably above this 91.5. Okay, not just a quick flip above it, but a move back and a move back down. Really, big green dots in here, a really bullish book. We already have a higher low in here, and we see some selling in here, but not a whole lot. A lot of selling in here. Okay, so maybe this turns into like a double bottom pattern here. Well, that's the risk that you take in your management here. Okay, so how do you want to manage that? Right? Do you want to hold on to this? Do you want to put your stop up here? Do you want to take something that was a winner and turn it into a loser potentially, or a break even? That's where it gets tricky and emotional, and that'll be up to you. You'll need to find what works for me. For me, I'm on a much smaller time frame. I don't really have the time to work on these higher time frames at the moment. And also I'd like to demo these again and again so you guys can see as many instances as possible. And then that will allow you to digest this and learn this material at a much higher pace. Chris, you're a little overwhelmed by the settings and the stops and icebergs. You can go to the knowledge base and there are also some videos on it. I can show you where to go in the Learning Center, the Bookmap Learning Center here. Yeah, so go to bookmap.com, click on the More button here, go to Learning Center, and then order flow phenomena, add-ons. Add-ons is where you want to go. Okay, for a lot of videos here on, you'll see some in Stops and Icebergs part 1 and 2 in here. Maybe that'll be helpful. Asking questions in here and during this webinar is a great way as well. And then the knowledge base link is up here. Click on this and you can go directly to the knowledge base here. Okay, and then you'll need to go into the add-on section of the knowledge base here, and you'll see Stops and Icebergs over on the left margin. All right, that should help you. There you go. Thank you, Rob. Rob's got a knowledge base, a couple of links there for you. Great. All right. If you haven't checked out this Learning Center, I recommend it. We're putting this together here for you. Lots of connections videos here, and very, very clean, simple videos. Our Getting Started course, lots of videos on how to use the various elements in Bookmap in the different tools. And then Market Mechanics course is a course we've had for a while, but if you're new in here, it is really important to understand things like this. Okay, like really what moves the market mechanics in here, which we're talking about in here right now, just on a bit higher time frame. Okay. So in these mechanics in here, like I want to look at a very low time frame in here and then talk about a higher time frame. So like right now, look at this, the mechanics. All right, so I don't see buyers here. I see them here. If I get sellers here, look at the order book. They can bring it right back down to 88 pretty quickly, right? So I'm looking for sellers here. I'm looking for them to hit the bid into 88. Maybe they'll come down to 86 because more liquidity is down here. Okay, see our exhaustion right here? We can cover this in detail here. Move up into high liquidity or a zone and up in here. Where are the buyers? Where are the buyers? Where are the buyers? Sellers. Okay, where's the order book? They're on the offer here. It's not a whole lot. It's not high probability, but it's the same thing that we're looking for on all time frames. Okay, and then we do see some sellers in here. Okay, maybe they can drop it down to where these buyers initiated. Maybe they can drop it down further. Okay, what's unfolded here? It just came down to here. That was it. Now it's coming back up to retest. Let's see if we get more buyers. What's the order book tell us in here? It's kind of a battle right now. Okay, the order book is on bid and offer, and we're getting buyers and sellers in here. So let's see if we get some follow through here, but I don't see anything happening right now. See, now look at that, 195. Okay, that means that they want to sell here. Okay, now they want to sell a little bit lower here. What does the market do? How does the market react to that? Well, we're finding some sellers. Okay, all right, so they were able to push this down here. It was this player here followed by the reaction of the aggressors that made that market, it just disrupted everything right here. Okay, high liquidity at a lower level, high liquidity at a lower level, sellers. Okay, now our move is following through, but up here we didn't really know. It was kind of, there's buyers, there's sellers, they're on the offer, they're on the bid. Okay, no clarity. A little bit more clarity. Okay, but do the buyers take them on? Well, there's a little bit of trading into it, but there's more sellers. Okay, so sellers want to move it back down into these lower levels, it looks like. Okay, and so we have come down and traded to where these guys came in initially and moved this market higher. Okay, there's some market mechanics for you right there. Okay, understanding that. Okay, that course that I just showed you goes through all of this, okay, in detail. Okay, at the most binary level, like one market buy here versus the order book in here, contracts on the bid and on the offer. When you start to understand this and what moves the market, all of your volume profiles, candlesticks, fibs, whatever it is that you look at will make a lot more sense. A lot more sense. And it'll take a randomness out of it here. So, we were looking for that move back down to here, maybe down to 86. Okay, well, we got down as far as this 87.25, and then we found some buyers here. Okay, again, market mechanics, sellers, some back and forth. Now, where the majority of the sellers take place, they're here. Okay, and there's some in here too. Okay, leg one, move back, leg two. Okay, and then now here, we can get buyers back up above this area and this cluster of selling here. They will likely come up here and hit some stops. Okay, so they did. Now, very few stops, but a nice stop run now. Okay, up into here. Right? So just get good at this process in here. We'll go through it again and again and again. Okay, understanding these market mechanics. It's the same process here, understanding this, as we started off this webinar on the higher time frame. It's the same process. We're looking for maybe this move back up above. Exhaustion, sellers come in, moving it back down into the range here, and we're still waiting for some follow through in here. This hourly candle has gone red. Okay, when we started it was green, right? But we're looking for it to come back down and trade into these lower levels here, and I guess it just did. That is the move that we saw lower here. Okay, this is the pullback right now, right here. Okay, so the question is on this 15-minute chart. Let's just look at the day's action. I don't know if that's going to help us. All right, let's look at the week here. On this chart here, what we're looking for is exhaustion up in this area here, and some selling to come back down into that cluster, and more selling to drive it lower. Okay, down to this swing here. Okay, it hasn't gone below that swing. Then the next swing would be down here, 77. First swing would be around this 84. Okay. So, what are the market mechanics and more a much lower time frame? It's not microstructure, but it's lower time frame. What is it telling us? Okay, so here's a bunch of selling up here. Some buying here. Okay, some selling in here. Right now, do we get back up here? Now we should see a stop run of these sellers here. I would look for a stop run of these sellers back up here, and that's starting to unfold here. Okay, so this is kind of a little bit of it's a small trap in here. We see buying activity. Earlier, just before this started to unfold, I was looking for exhaustion and then sellers down here. Okay, and if we get that, then we can get this nice move down lower again. Okay, so we might, this might be like our daily chart right now. Here's the move above, did not accept, okay, and they're on the offer here at 92. Now the question is, we don't do anything until we see some selling back down here. Okay, and then this looks like this is going to be the trapped buyers in here. Okay, and then we want to get back down here and see that selling. That will likely be well, a combination of things in here. We can see this. There is some buying up here. Maybe that becomes a trap. Now let's look for our sellers. Look at the book, looks good. Okay, still looking for our sellers at 91, and nothing. There they are. Okay, let's see it, sellers. You should be able to drop it back down to 89 or 88. Okay, they can get the long squeeze here. No, not yet. I would be out. I'd get out. I'm not going to get squeezed. I'm looking for something specific, and let's see if we get it again here. And I'd jump back in. There we go. Let's see if we can get it now. Now again, not a trade recommendation. We're just going through these scenarios here. Okay, and let's see the move down to 88 or 89 and 88 here. Now let's take a look at the delta here. This is why we've been covering the delta so much last several sessions. Look at the bars. These are delta bars, and look at the dots. Okay, the dots will give you exact location and also the size. The bars kind of give you this nice kind of graphic here horizontally, and we're looking for sellers to take control of the market here. Okay, and you can see it starting to pick up here. It's not the greatest though, right? There's a lot of buying here. Now that buying might be the trap buyers here. Okay, but there's buyers in here. We really want to see something that really kind of looks very, very clear that sellers are in control and they're going to move this market. And then you can filter that in your trading activity here. Okay, so that will lead to a higher, likely that will lead to a higher probability transaction. All right, so and is this doing it? No, not really, right? It's kind of all over the place. We know there's buyers, we know there's some sellers, etc. So this is a great way to filter even these market mechanics in here. Starting to understand. Now see how we could, if we filter that out, we don't get caught up in this here. Right now the buyers look like they're going to go right up to 95. Now let's zoom out. Yeah, 95 looks good. Okay, the delta is picking up on the buy side. Thanks, Rob, for your settings there. Yeah, I typically use the default settings, and I like the this one here on icebergs and stops, the automatic threshold here. So you click on that and you can see 67. It's going to filter out anything lower than 67. You can play with that filter here. It's a number of minutes and an interval here, or multiplier. And it just takes kind of an average of that. All right, let me go back to YouTube. I have not gotten to questions in here. Sorry about that. Yeah, Malak, yeah, your stop is it's liquidity, or that you know that there can be trades there, right? So that's how it can be fuel. But it's almost like a guaranteed trade, right? You can look for that. You look for that behavior. People are compelled to, they're forced to exit their position, right? And that is higher. I mean, if you look for, really where people are going to buy and sell, you know they're going to buy and sell in those areas, right? That's why you'll see, these, market makers will stop hunt an area. I mean, they know that they more likely than not they can get filled in those areas, or take their profit in those areas, or enter those areas, right? So. And you can see the game playing just all over the place. We saw it in here. No, we saw it earlier. Get where? That player came in and skewed the order book in here, and we moved lower. And we didn't know that was going to happen. We were looking at back and forth, and then that player came in and skewed that order book, and the reaction was sellers, which worked out nicely for him. I forget where it was. Anyway, we can go back and look at the recording. Why is my CVD like that? I don't have my CVD up. We can take a look at it though if you want. Yeah, here's CVD. Now, very interesting CVD here. dropping like a rock, right? But price isn't. Okay, so what's up with that? Now maybe it will. Maybe we'll get our momentum right here, right now. But if I see buyers come in here, and if I see exhaustion and buyers starting to come in, boy, you can even hop on it and ride it up to the top of the range here, take some off, and then maybe hold the rest for the top of the range, or maybe even look for a pullback or add in again here and then take some off up at this swing or these swings up here. Right now, again, this is due to all of this selling in here is going to feel the squeeze. Right? If we can get those buyers in here. So there's a real-time, example. Just you have to be really on it here. See the selling here, all in here. We didn't get sellers in here. We're looking for our buyers. Just a few ticks to the top of this range, but the next swing is up here, and then we have liquidity up here at 93 3/4 and 95. And let's see if they can pop up into those areas, and let's see if we can get our big stop run. So even though CVD is looking great, here's our divergence, right? A nice one too. Okay, so here's our divergence right here, and then down here. This is making lower lows. This is not. Slightly higher. CVD is really simple indicator. Shadow. In fact, I'm going to point you to some videos on the in the Learning Center here. Okay, so go to the Learning Center. It's bookmap.com, learning-center, or English, and then en/en/learning-center. Okay, and then click here on the getting started, subchart and widget panel, and cumulative volume delta in here. Yeah, let's look at our delta again. Now it's just all over the place, right? There's some buying up here, there's some selling here, there's some buying here, there's some selling here. Looks pretty choppy to me. Okay, well, maybe we did see this little opportunity here, managed it very aggressively. And again, not a trade recommendation. It's just going through a scenario here and a potential a way of looking at the market, something to learn from here. I really want to avoid people like taking trades. That's my my goal. Instead, like, sit back, watch, learn, take some ideas from it, and then challenge me. Basically, I said this to Hector like a month ago or so. Prove me wrong, or prove yourself right if you have a different way of looking at it. Right. So look at the delta here. Right. Looks pretty good. It looks really good. Buyers should be able to take this higher here. Right. So we saw some of that up in here. Right. We saw this charge back up into here. We're back up again on strong delta. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking for buyers to try to take this higher, 95, 97, 98. And let's look at our bigger picture. Okay, 95. Here's our 97 level up here by this swing. That's not bad. And then we have 99 up here, 90 almost, and 4,300. All right, bid looks good. Are we getting buyers though? Not really. Now we are. All right, buyers. Now the offer, are they pulling? Yeah, a little bit. They still looking for 97. Right? The market is rather telling us here by the participants here that we're likely to go higher up into 97 because they're starting to pull some of that liquidity. We see that there's buyers here, and then they're on the offer here, right? Simple market mechanics here. And there's our move to 97. Okay, so we saw it down here around 90 or so, and I talked about these scenarios in here. First little stop would be just you can even trade it up to this area here and take some off. I know that's not much, but just to go through the concept here, so you can trade it up to the range and you can look for the extension of it due to the imbalances in here, the order flow and the order book, as well as the transactions, right? And we started to talk about what was it that yeah, just there weren't those large transactions down here, and we're talking about who's going to be compelled to be buyers up in those areas, right? And those would be your stops. Now we just had a big stop run here, 360. Yeah, Paul. Yeah, you can trade options for sure. In fact, I would. We have a few different things to take a look at here on our YouTube channel or in our Discord channel. Okay, there's options with Doug here. He's got a brilliant strategy, I think. That this is at 1:30 p.m. this afternoon, East Coast time. And then we have options millionaire. We have a host of different options traders. Charles does not, but we can look at our streaming recordings here. Options millionaire right here. Okay, he's on every Friday at 1 p.m. And we might do a special event with him soon too. I know Tyler Wilson as well trades some options. Okay, J Trader I know trades some options as well. So might want to tune in and ask them about some of their option strategies. Yep, thanks Doug. Thanks Rob. Rob put the schedule there into the Discord channel. All right. Well, that delta that we saw in here and look for that move higher, look how it's being kind of shadowed over here on the sell side, right? It's a lot. So now where are we? And look where they took it. You know, this is why just again and again, I just love it. That, you know, we're not making this stuff up. Here's where it initiated. These buyers really came in and broke out. Hey, this is where the buyers are. This is where the sellers are. This is our new trading range. Now, who's going to take control above or below that range? Or are we just going to stay in this range in here? Another thing I really like too, I know a lot of you guys use this tool, is looking at the columns in here that you can configure them to show delta. Okay, so this is a composite of buyers and sellers. Select the box here. Now you're looking at buyers minus sellers, and it will tell you the overall. So it's either going to be red or it's going to be green. And it's for, you know, this whole viewable chart range. You can do it for the SVP, which is session range volume profile as well. It's up to you. But you're looking at these areas in here where buyers or sellers are in control, right? From these price levels here. So you can go through a scenario in here. See how there's buying up here. Okay, well, if we can get up there and find buyers again, then likely we'll get to the next level. Okay, but sellers are pretty happy in this little range in here, right? Or right here. Okay, and then Kenji, we can talk about this. Like, what if these are all sellers in here? They're going to be compelled buyers up into 4,300. Right, so let's see then we go through scenarios in here, right? What would the order flow look like? Well, we'd want to see a stacked book. We want to see the buyers in here, right there. We want to see them pull on the offer in these areas here. Okay, and then we'd look for this move up into 43. Okay, we're looking for our aggressors, our green dots right now. Okay, now look at the order book in here. It's really not telling us much. Right, so maybe another rotation back down to 95 before we get this. Okay, but what we see how we were reading it at this point here, we weren't looking for that other rotation. You know, we just saw this really a lot of buying up in here, and then the order book did support it under here. They did pull at the time we were looking at it in here. We're like, yeah, okay, there's some selling, but then they're not really pulling in here. They're not really on the bid. Then that changed in here, and they pulled here. They added on the bid here. We're just looking for our aggressors, and then we got them. And we're looking for our 97. Okay, 97 and onward. Okay, which in fact, yeah, it came back down and spiked below this area where we would have been getting in, but it's back up above. That's another thing, talking about trade management. So let's suppose you took some off at 97. Okay, so you got like a 2-point gainer, and in the S&P here, and then you can put your stop at break even. Well, you would have been stopped out at break even in here. Okay, but remember, so you only made 2 points on your first move here. However, you can take that and if you move it back down below and just move it up 1 tick, this would be your stop loss down here, and it didn't come near it, right? And on the overall, on this position in here, if it came down here and hit you, then you would have made just 1 tick on the overall. Here you made a little bit of money, but you got stopped out on the second leg at break even, so you didn't lose anything. Right here, you wouldn't lose anything if he came down here and hit you, but you wouldn't have gained anything either. Okay, just a couple different ways to consider management. What I've been really curious about today has been, looking at the daily and weekly here. It's a bullish move to be above this previous candle, but it failed and it came back into the range, but it didn't follow through. It just came back down and tested right here, and now we're back up again. So this is actually looking pretty good to come up to not only 4,300, but 04, which is the swing high for today. And then let's just take a look at the weekly here. Right. So on the weekly, this is good. We're looking for our on the much higher time frame here, like 43.27, and then maybe on up into some of these areas in here. Look at your average true range in here, and then you can start to map out where it might go and mark up some of these areas on your chart. Right, and then the key though is mark up these areas in your chart and then look at Bookmap. Are there sellers there? Are there buyers in other areas? Are they already lined up to deal? Heck, we can even look at a monthly. I don't think I can here. I have a monthly here though. Look at this. Look at the monthly chart. See this is what I'm really curious about. This is really bullish here. So 40, the swing up here of like on the monthly, that's nothing. It can do that. 43.34. Maybe we can get up higher here. Maybe we can get an extended candle here on this breakout. And that's what we were talking about, like 45, 4600 up in here. A much higher time frame, of course. But the concept here is the same. A breakout of a range. Now, is there a lot of buying pressure behind it? That's what we want to know. Okay, and then that idea and that concept is the same for, and we saw it here. Let's just clear these drawings. Let's take the stops and icebergs off here. The concept's the same for this range. Okay, a breakout. Oh, I'm sorry. It was this one here. It was this range. Okay, and we're looking at this bottom of the range here. We're looking for sellers. We didn't get them. That's when we were looking for. You could trade it up to here and then take it further. And then we saw again even more buyers up here, right? So there's buying pressure behind it. So we're looking for the breakout, a continuation here. Okay, that is no different than this. Okay, so let's take a look at the volume on here. Okay, now it is the start of a new month here. So this is May. And May had some volume on it, but June doesn't yet really have any volume on it. So we don't know. We don't know. That's what we'll have to come down to the daily chart then. Okay, so what is there's June 2nd here. There's June 1st. So not bad in terms of volume. And it looks pretty average though. But we're really looking for this to step on it here and continue on up higher. Okay, and that's what we want to see in here. Same thing, right? That's why we look at the delta. Makes sense? Okay, small time frame, same ideas. Okay, when we look at Bookmap in here, we're going to get so much more information, and we can easily and simply put it together. Okay, we look at the delta, we look at all of this buying pressure, we look at the order book. How is it behaving? And that gives us insight. It's the player's behavior in here that gives us some insight. That's what we're reading. Okay, same thing up in here too. Like look, we saw that selling come in. It was shadowed by that selling. Okay, and then look at this buying up in here. Not very much. right? Look at the delta bars in this subchart here, overlay. Not much, right? Not much. So there, are we looking for it here? Not necessarily. No. We see selling come back in. Here's our retest here. Do we get a lot of buyers here? No, we don't. We have a bar here, but it's this area here. It's not up here. Okay. So same concept, same ideas. Now look at it. Okay, it looks pretty good. All right, I'm looking for these buyers to try to take this higher. Okay, where the selling is down here. See the relationship and context? The selling's down here. Okay, the buying's up here too, right? But we're looking for, again, another maybe retest up here on our 97 levels and lots of buyers here. We want to see them pull on the offer. We want to see them add on the bid, and then we should get follow through up into these levels of liquidity. Okay, it tested lower. Didn't find enough. Now it's testing higher. Let's see if they find enough. See how we can avoid this and then look for this one here instead after it's retested back down here. Okay, quite a bit of selling, so it's not following through. It just came up here, retested, came back down. Now in this area here, before that selling came in, it looks pretty good, right? So we're looking for it to follow through. Okay, now we see a lot of selling. Okay, so now we might come right back up and see a lot of buying again. That we found some support here at 96. And again, I'm looking for buyers in here. Yeah, it looks good. All right, so let's see if they can take it higher here. No. No, but this is what we're looking at. Some selling here, lack of selling, buyers here, continuation. Okay. So we had sellers come in on the other side though. All right, so in this instance here, I got it wrong. I exit. I look for the next one. I don't hold this. I don't add to it. Looking for that scenario to unfold. It started to, and then it failed. Okay, move on to the next. Again, not a trade recommendation here. And we're going with all these other time frames in here, going through the same concept again and again here. Yeah. World King one top. A few other questions in here. Let me see. Would I have shorted the retest to 42.98, Deborah? No. No, I'm looking for this too because I like this here. Tested and it held down here. Buyers still in control, and then we're looking for it in here, and we just look down here, and there's just no volume. All right, so that makes sense that sellers take it lower, but then I'm starting to see the volume pick up in here. I'm looking for the breakout. And Deborah, I'm glad you're in here because in this area in here, so we just covered it, like In my plan, I would have gotten it wrong. I would have been out. It would have been a loss. That's that. I was looking for it to follow through though, like it followed through here and here, right? So and then I know I was hoping you were in here because to address this on your side, you say you're getting in at the worst areas, worst possible areas. Right? So here again, look at this. Look at that buying. I'm looking for it to continue on up. I'm looking for it to test these sellers here at 96 and trade through it, and then really pick up above that. So you can even trade it back up to 96. It's kind of like a pullback trade, but it's not a pullback because look at the buying here. Look at this. Look at this, right? Compared to the selling here, right? So that's not a pullback. We're looking for low volume on the pullback. Okay? And then now we're looking for a stop run and extension up into 4,300. So anyway, Deborah, so to overcome this is hard. And the psychology behind it. This is the scenario. This is the setup. It didn't work out. Yeah, it stings, right? Now let's see if we get it here. This was a pullback. Now this was a low volume pullback here. Okay, look at all that buying. Look at the selling. Okay, we're back up here and we see buyers. Yeah, not quite enough yet. Rotating back down. Now here's the risk in this trade. What if sellers really pick up down here? We don't know that. We don't see it. We don't know that. But you can if you start to see it, you can play it. But right now, I'm still buy side. I would be buy side on this. Again, we don't recommend trades here. I just don't press the buttons. Just have these as concepts and ideas in here. Then go back and study it. That's the way to go. So this is still in play here. We did not get our sellers down here. They still may come in, right? But by that behavior right now, it looks pretty good for buyers to test up into 98. Okay, now the order book is the other side here that really helps us too. Are they bidding here? And what's the reaction? They bid down here and they pull here, and we see buyers come in. This looks great. It looks a lot better, and we would look for that move extension. And there we go. Now let's see it. We should really see them pick up here. We should get a nice stop run too. Yeah, so Deborah, like one of the things to consider is like just look at the edges, right? Go through these scenarios in here like we're doing again and again. But these lower edges in here, like we talked about it, like you knew that there was buying pressure in here, and just try it like in demo or in your studies in here. Hey, that you could get in here. There's a lot of risk though, that all of a sudden sellers may come in and you'll get stopped and slipped, maybe 2-3 points down into this area in here somewhere, right? However, you don't know that this is going to happen. Once it does happen, right, you're sitting pretty. Okay, but understand the edges, right? That's why we're going over order flow and the transactions at the edges here. To give us this insight. And then we didn't see the edge, or I'm sorry, not the edge. We didn't see an advantage until here, right? And so that's at 95 now. But look though, did it really go against you? No, not a tick. It came back down and tested 95 here. Didn't go against you. All right, so then understand these edges down here, okay? And what I mean by edge is the bottom of the range or top of the range or of the trend or whatever it is. And then understand what the behavior of traders up at those ranges. Okay. So here again, this makes pretty good sense. Here, this is looking great, looking great, looking great. Lack of buyers here. Pull back to here. It's still bullish though. It's some pretty good selling in here. But it's still bullish here. And then again, buyers in here. Okay. So now a little bit higher, a little bit more buying, and they should be able to break this range here and at least trade up to this range, top of this range. Okay, we didn't get it. Exhaustion, some selling, okay. But again, looking for buyers up here, 97. See this guy coming in at 97, right? And the reaction was some selling so far. So, you know, this trade idea in here, this scenario here is not playing out. Okay, let's look for an opposite scenario here. Well, maybe it's going to be a break of this edge here, bottom of the range, and then back down to here. Okay, and then what are we looking for? The book, we're looking for pretty massive book on the offer, pulling on the bid, and we're looking for our red dots here, and a follow through down. So our primary scenario was looking for this one to just trade up to here. Didn't get it. Started to see the selling come in. We didn't get so much on the book, on the offer, and we didn't get so much on the book, on the bid either. They didn't really pull, but we did get the aggressor come in, and they moved it down. So we didn't get all the pieces. Not a high probability, you know, behavior here from the participants. I think maybe one of the hardest things to embrace in here is just understanding risk. That's why you have to know if you have an edge or not. Because no matter what you do, you got to take the risk. It has to be totally accepted and digested. Oh, let's add some market pulse in here to get maybe a more of an edge in here. So we'll look for correlations. Okay, so we can look at let's add it here. Hold on. Volume pressure on Apple, sure. NASDAQ, sure. That's volume pressure in balance, and then this is price change on NASDAQ. And volume pressure here as well, okay, on the ES. So we're going to listen here. Let's see if we can hear the market. Okay, I hear something. It is the NASDAQ selling off though. Right, so coming back up and testing these areas doesn't look so good right now. Hold on, now here's Apple. Look, all of a sudden Apple jumping. Okay, now we know this is a bellwether stock. It's the biggest stock in the S&P on the globe. Hmm. No, not really getting much out of Apple. Buyers and sellers, buyers and sellers. The book looks pretty good here. See the book underneath here? Now, do we get our buyers coming in? And now we're looking at this little small range in here. And that we do see some buyers. All right, can we get enough buyers to come up to 97? Looking for it. Okay, now again, this is not, I would not take this, but it looks pretty good. Okay. See how they're kind of underneath here, very faintly, but they are underneath, and we're getting buyers. So they want to trade into these 97 guys here, this liquidity here. Okay, now we're hearing the S&P pick up. I need NASDAQ volume pressure as well. Hold on a minute. Have it. I have volume pressure imbalance. All right, let's add it. Anyway, we're going through these examples. You know, this is pretty choppy in here. Buyers, sellers. But we're looking for, you know, where these scenarios line up so we can break the range. And here we go, back up again. Book looks good. Looks even better. See how they're pulling now? This guy at 97 is not there. They're on the bid. Now I'm looking for volume here. I'm looking to hear it as well, especially in NASDAQ and maybe Apple. And I don't hear it. All right, so what was we're looking for this scenario, and it just didn't unfold. Okay, and you could do this for, like I said, in any price range, any time frame. Let's see if we come back up here again. So yeah, I think Deborah, that was my suggestion. Like it sounds kind of funny though. I mean, look for these edges down here, the bottom edge or top edge, or of the range, but the higher probability is up in here, not down here. That's why we're going through the scenarios, and that's why maybe you're getting caught up in some of these areas in here. Oh, everyone wants to buy down here and sell up here. I mean, of course. But where do we have a bit of an edge? And we started to see that behavior, and that's when we thought we had a bit of an edge of these buyers coming in. Okay, so and it didn't really go against you. If you still held it, it did. And actually, we're still in this range. And now see the selling coming in now. All right, so they're going to test the bottom of this range. And again, I don't like it. I mean, yeah, it might break it here, but and we know that all that buying in here will be a stop run to the downside, and a nice one, because there's a lot of buying in here. But I just don't see it in the order book again. So I'm staying away. Okay, Apple's people are buying Apple. Here's our double bottom. Okay, let's see if we get our buyers here. 95 3/4. Let's see what the book says as well. Again, I don't think it's not looking very good. It's just looking rather choppy. There's liquidity up here. It's not pulling. They're not really adding here in the order book on the bid, but I'm just looking for aggressors here and for them to drive it right up to 97 here, due to a correlation with Apple, and then this double bottom pattern in here. So I'm looking for those green dots and the move back up to, boy, maybe not even 97, maybe just up to like 96.5, 96 3/4. It's not much, but the concept here is the same. Okay, as like looking at this and then looking for it down here on a move back up into some of these higher areas. I mean, you know, you can look at these areas in here. Maybe this turns into like a bigger flag pattern or something like that. Or maybe this turns into your reversal pattern up in here. Very possible. Yeah. In fact, I might go with that one here. Let's see. Opposite scenario. Do we get our sellers down here? Okay. All right. Then this starts to look pretty good for a drop down into 93.5 to 92. Right? Couldn't make higher highs. We were looking for buyers here, that double bottom, looking for buyers here, couldn't get them. Zoomed out a little bit, looking for our sellers to drop it at that point. And now they're testing the bottom of this range at 93.5. And I'm looking for price to explore down to maybe 92 here. You're welcome, Deborah. Keep it simple, Deborah, that you know what you're doing and what you're studying. I think that's where, I mean, it's easy to get lost. Okay, it's a low volume pullback so far. Okay, but yeah, I don't like it. This, if I was in this here, like I would probably exit it. Because I don't like it. Like, it's back in here and we can get buyers in. You can feel the squeeze here. So we're looking for this move and then just cut the trade. Right? We're looking for follow through. We had a low volume pullback here. Now we have high volume back up above where it broke down from. And that's not what we're looking for. So, you know, this looked pretty good. We had some structure. We had all these different things we talked about. And then we did get the move to the bottom of this range. Got a low volume pullback, and then we see more volume back up above it. Right, so that would be a break-even trade for me. Yeah, it is very choppy. Okay, and it still might work out, right? You know, here it still made a lower high up here. And there's even more selling here. All right. So let's see if, again, sellers right here where these buyers came in and moved it higher. See it? There's exhaustion. Now, do we get sellers? And what is the order book telling us? Again, the order book's not showing us much. You can see that it hasn't in a lot of cases. There was only a few cases where it did, and those played out pretty well. So, this is how the order book can really help you. Understand that behavior, from the passive buyers and sellers in here. All right, guys. Well, guys, if you like this, please hit the like button. Really helps us to continue with education in here, to go over these things, to try to assist and help you look for, filter for, or at least learn, and maybe it spurs some sort of concept or idea here for you that you can take further. It's really, really key, but you need to take it further. Ask questions like you are. Come back, ask again. Come into our Discord channel, and we've got a really supportive group in there as well. And everyone's helping out each other. Yeah, it's a great group. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We'll call it a day. Thanks for coming, everybody. Yeah, let's see you tomorrow. We have a great lineup still for the rest of the day. Tom B is next, followed by Doug in the afternoon, and then the Algo Boys. That's the Algo Boys is only in Discord though, right? So you have to come there for that. Thanks everybody, and we'll catch up tomorrow. All right, have a good day.